Furniture.
Ladies, can you touch this?
Drugs, I think?
No.
It's Magic Mike.
Welcome to The Center Cut. I'm Michael.
And I'm Dave.
And we're here today to talk about Magic Mike. But before we do, just real quick, if you have no idea what's going on, I mean, why are you listening to this? But first, listen to the introduction podcast that we put out. At least you'll have some sort of idea who we are, what we're doing. If you don't want to listen to that and you're lazy, well, you're kind of a jerk. But Dave, what are we doing here?
So we ended up watching the first 15 minutes and the last 15 minutes of Magic Mike. And then what we're going to do from there, recap those for you so that if you haven't seen it, you know where everything lies. And then we're going to go ahead and just make up what happened in the middle, try and draw those lines between the beginning and the end and make everything flow and fit kind of nice, make the middle just a little bit better than it probably was in the original movie.
That's about it. And if you want to play along, the second half, because we don't count the credits, starts at 1 hour, 31 minutes, and 23 seconds. Magic Mike came out in 2012, directed by Steven Soderbergh, starring Channing Tatum and Alex Pettyfer. From what I can tell, it was basically just a ploy to get chunky middle-aged women in the theater seats. And contrary to my physique and my affinity for floral-scented hand cream, I am not a chunky middle-aged woman. But we watched it nonetheless. How did this movie start, Dave?
We open to Matthew McConaughey, which is someone that you didn't mention in that introduction there. But man, oh man, was he a big part of the beginning and end of this movie. Matthew is on stage in his natural habitat, shirtless, and explaining to the ladies in the crowd what they can and cannot touch. Now that's where our no comes into play. He's telling them they can't touch anything. Well, turns out he was lying because they can touch whatever they want. The next scene was just June. It was just a screen that said the word June. It was the only date reference in the entire movie. So we're just going to assume that everything took place in June.
Well, here's what I'm thinking. Does that mean that the intro part that we see with Matthew is actually a flash forward to what we also see later on? Like the last 15-minute
Oh, wow.
scene?
I never realized that. It was like...
why else would they say June? Like, because we had no frame of reference of what the original time was.
Yeah. Why wouldn't they put June before that? But instead they just decided to throw it in after Matthew McConaughey. It's a good thought.
I mean, we see him later on in the same... It's on the same stage, right?
On the same stage, in the same outfit, but I'm assuming that's just what he wears all the time, 100% of the time.
You're probably right, but I think it might be a flash forward. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, that's not a bad thought. We can discuss that a little bit more later. But we cut after the June scene to Channing Tatum getting out of bed, out of breath, presumably from sleeping just really, really hard, because we all know that Channing Tatum can't have nightmares. And then he stands up and is fully naked. Now, this here is the first scene where I realized this is not a prequel to Space Jam. I was misled. And there apparently is going to be a lot more ass in this movie than I thought. Mr. Tatum is discussing his previous evening with Olivia Munn while she
That's who that is. Okay.
Yeah, got him. I know people sometimes, maybe. So Olivia Munn is getting dressed in the bedroom. They're chatting. They can't remember the third person in the room, a naked girl who's laying on the bed. Just, I would assume, cast for her ass, because you never see her face or anything else. You just see her laying on the bed, and that's her ass, and there it is.
And she doesn't even have a name.
Yeah, we don't know who that is. That could be like Ruth Bader Ginsburg or something. We have no idea.
It's Benabby.
Oh, yep. So off to work, Channing Tatum goes after leaving the house with his two lady friends still there. It was something to mention actually in the house that I wanted to pick up on was the fact that he had some furniture in his house that Olivia Munn mentioned. We find out that it's his ultimate goal is to build furniture, but just is trying to make ends meet and figure that out, and eventually he'll do it, but comes up with a bunch of shitty excuses why not. So then he goes to work. We see what ended up being 30 seconds, but felt like 100 years of scenes of the landscape of Tampa, Florida, out of the back of his truck as he's driving. I don't know if you felt like you aged to basically retirement at that point, but I felt like that just lasted forever.
I did, and I feel like we would have learned a lot more about the movie if we didn't get 4 minutes of water and scaffolding.
I agree. We probably would have got a lot more out of our 15 minutes. That's absolutely for sure. But as he makes his way finally to a construction site where we meet Adam, the star of the show here. Adam is a young gentleman who looks to be a guy who never graduated anything, and his mom stopped doing his laundry last week, but he doesn't know how to do it himself.
Agreed.
Yeah, okay, good. I'm glad we're both on the same page. They're at the construction site for a little bit. At the end of that, Adam gets actually accused of stealing Pepsis, which just seems ridiculous, but it's truthful. That's what it is. He took one too many Pepsis and ended up quitting his job. Couldn't get his car started. That's my least favorite thing when I want to storm off of a job. I just quit and my car won't start.
Who says jump you off?
Jump you off? I don't.
That's what Tatum says. He says, "Do you want me to jump you off?"
Oh yeah. Yeah, I do remember now. Now that you said it in that sultry voice, it just came flooding back to me. So,
did you like my Channing Tatum impression, by the way?
That was really great. I wanted to comment on that. I was going to wait till later, but I really appreciate that. So yeah, he offers to jump him off, which we assume is to jump his car, but could mean a whole slew of other things. But he offers to jump him off, decides against it, not going to work, decides to drive him home. Drives him back to his sister's house. Adam lives with his sister, big surprise. And there, Adam takes a moment to let his sister know that he quit his job because the construction foreman decided to accuse him of stealing an extra Pepsi. It's the worst thing to be accused of. His sister... So I don't know if you noticed this, but every scene with his sister, I felt like they kept the camera on her face way longer than it should be on her face.
And just zoomed in on her face, too. Like, her face took up the whole shot.
Yeah, and it's like her reactions to sentences. Usually in a movie, it's like if two people are talking, one person talks and the camera's on them, and the other person starts talking and the camera turns to them. This was a full conversation, but we only saw her perspective in her face the entire time.
I think it's an artsy, like, Soderbergh thing. Like, he tries to make schlock like this artsy, but it just, I don't know.
Just like future McConaughey in the past at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So he explains to his sister that he lost his job and that he is a deadbeat and doesn't want to have any other jobs because he's a big lazy bum. And she says, "Oh, well, my boyfriend can maybe fix you up with something. We'll talk to him at dinner." That was my girlfriend voice. Your Channing Tatum was good, but
much better.
I want to say my girlfriend voice is probably better. We make our way to that dinner specifically, and the boyfriend is just a douche. He's an asshole.
Yeah, Paul is so sucky.
Paul is the worst. "I don't want to talk about work after work. I need you to drive so you can't drink, sister, whose name I don't know. So please."
Yeah, we don't ever learn her name.
Yeah, right? I don't think we ever do in the whole.
I must have missed it because I don't. Yeah, we don't.
I don't think we did. Adam just ends up standing up and leaving without a word. As he's walking down the street, he comes across a line for a club, and who does he find there? None other than our good friend Mike, Channing Tatum, hanging out in line, looking fly, unlike Adam, who looks like he just rolled out of a tent underneath the freeway. And so Adam convinces Mike to let him come into the club. They head into the club, but Mike says, "You're going to owe me." And then a few seconds in, he says, "Now I'm going to ask you to pay back that favor," which was literally like the span of 3 minutes. And then he was like, "Oh, remember that time you owed me something? Now your comeuppance are here, sir." And makes him talk to some girls. He goes over, chats up some girls, presumably to see how good he is at talking to women. I'm not sure, to try and recruit him to God knows what. And that's pretty much where our 15 minutes cut off right in the middle of a sentence.
It did.
Yep.
It did.
So that was pretty much the beginning there. How do we feel about the end? Can you tell me a little bit more about where that came through?
I can. Now, you watched this as well, so it's not like I'm telling you what happened, but
I did.
Okay.
Maybe. Before
I do, I have to have a quick rant about strip clubs, because this just made me remember how much I don't understand strip clubs, whether it's for a male strip club or a female strip club. I just don't get it. Like in 1962, maybe it's either that or you have to jerk off to a wrinkled black and white photo.
Yeah.
But like 2019, 2020, like you can sit on the toilet in the comfort of your own home and be completely naked.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, do I want to see a nipple from 6 feet away? Or there's like millions of hours of porn. Like I could look at an extreme close up of an unclenched butthole. And okay, like maybe it's the lap dance part. Like that's what gets people going. But really, like I'd rather do it myself than have to pay some idiot to rub against my jeans. Like, oh, great, my throbbing dick is being cheese grated by denim. Awesome. And what if you come in your pants? Like I only did that once and it was horrible. Hear me out. I was like 17 and this girl was like dry humping me at her friend's house for like an hour. My teenage self couldn't handle it and kapow! It was a disaster.
Yep.
You ever have to walk around with the inside of a Cadbury egg in your underpants? It's horrible.
Yeah, I can't even. I can imagine it because I have done it. But here's the situation: is that I love Cadbury eggs, and if you ever ruin something like that I love again, I'm quitting again from this podcast.
I'm sorry. Strip clubs are trash.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think there is a certain amount of like I am touching. It makes it a little bit more real, I guess, for people, even though there's obviously no way that this person is actually someone who would be interested in you, but at least a real human standing in front of you instead of you just watching a screen of someone who was purposefully trying to just entertain you. I guess that's what a strip club is. But
yeah, but they have like fleshlights and stuff.
That is true. Hey, there's nothing stopping you from bringing your fleshlight to the strip club. I'm just saying.
Okay, they're not for me. Not for me. I've never been, but I can just imagine they wouldn't be for me.
Neither have I, but we both have strong opinions about it.
Anyway.
Yep.
And I didn't know you were pro strip club, but okay.
I didn't know you were anti strip club. After seeing Matthew McConaughey dance on that stage without a shirt, how could you possibly be anti strip club after seeing that?
Okay, we'll see. Anyway, so the second half of the last 15 minutes of Magic Mike starts with Mike hanging out with Gabriel Iglesias. Mike's got like chocolate syrup drooling out his mouth hole. I think it might be blood. It sounds like the kid Adam is messing around and owes Fluffy some money. So
my first concern was, how in God's name did Gabriel Iglesias get in this movie? So the sheer rock hard abbiness of everyone we've seen so far. How he got into this movie was just beyond me. I think he may have just lied on his resume and they thought he was Enrique Iglesias.
That's exactly what it was.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I'm confident that's what happened.
So Mike goes looking for Adam, but finds his sister instead. They talk a lot of nonsense about Mike going to Miami and how your job doesn't define you. It's really kind of lame. It's supposed to. I think it's supposed to showcase Tatum's acting skills, but really didn't do much for me. Adam and Mike do end up convening at a beach bar. Adam has a tattoo of a cross or a starfish or some shit on his pectoral muscle. I think it's a rule. Yeah, if a dude has a pec tat, he has replaced at least one shower with Axe body spray. He likes The Rock unironically and has used the phrase just the tip.
All true. I'm pretty sure those all happen in the middle section of the movie. We just didn't see it.
I think so. Mm-hmm. He owes Mike money and calls his furniture stupid.
I was very confused at the fact that, hey, thanks for paying off the supposed someone important that's going to kill me if I do not provide the money necessary. Thanks for giving that money, but by the way, the shit you want to do all the time is dumb. Just
your
dumb.
Dreams, garbage.
Garbage dreams. Yeah, I just like that was beyond, it made me hate Adam even more.
Mm-hmm. We also find out that it's been 3 months since the start of the movie, which, what is that, June, July, August? End of August?
Depends on the September.
Yeah. Okay.
There would have been a screen, presumably.
That's
like
true. Yeah. We probably missed that part.
Yeah.
Matthew McConaughey then serenades us with a song about Tampa. It's pretty horrible. Then he breaks his guitar and starts his striptease to Kiss's Dr. Love.
I was so confused by the breaking of the guitar. I didn't understand why. I guess maybe that was a transition into Dr. Love. Like like I'm about to get more metal up in here. I don't know,
Yeah.
but the smashing of the guitar and the blowing of fire. I don't understand. What these ladies paid for was a show, not just to touch Matthew McConaughey's chest. No, but to just experience everything he had to offer. Of course, shirtless.
Yeah, of course. Mike broods backstage while the other dudes prep by doing curls. Question: are ladies really into sweaty man asshole? I didn't think so, but this film seems to posit otherwise.
Who isn't into sweaty man asshole?
Good point. Mike leaves and Adam takes his place as a cock-rockin' king of Tampa. In the end, Mike ended up choosing Adam's sister over the glory, but they apparently both changed their minds off screen, because the last we saw them when they had the conversation outside prior to McConaughey, they both, Mike was set on going to Miami and she was done with him, but not anymore.
Yeah. So that's the thing, is that you would think, based on our podcast, that first scene that Mike just mentioned was before the cut and the second scene was after the cut. Turns out, nope, they were both in the second 15 minutes, the end of the movie. There was just a bunch of stuff in the middle that apparently was completely missed and no one paid any attention to.
Yes. Adam's sister has dumped Sucky Paul, which is great. I'm sure he probably did some horrible things in the middle that we'll talk about, but they agreed to go on a breakfast date. But before that breakfast date, Mike's going to give her that sausage right in her bagel hole. He's going to give her some of that man milk, that yogurt right in her donut. He's going to jam it in and get that little marmalade. He better be careful and wear protection, or he may be baking those eggs. You see what I did with those breakfast foods, Dave?
There were so many breakfast foods. I really appreciate that. Do you really put yogurt in donuts?
No, but his yogurt is his sperms, and they're going to go in her donut, which, think of the shape of a donut. Oh, you're so bad at this, Dave.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I always fill my donuts with cream. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but cream isn't a breakfast food. Oh my God, you're horrible.
Yeah, but
anyway,
a cream-filled donut is a thing.
Fine.
See? I win. Is cream in her donut? You know what I'm saying?
And that's it. That was the movie.
Yeah. So let's take a moment. We've recapped the movie. We watched it. Hopefully our listeners watched it as well. I just want to take a second right now, guys. We're in the center. For the first time, we're in the center. I just want to take a moment and bask in it. I bet you didn't realize that this was an ASMR podcast. We didn't mention it in the introduction, but it is. Ooh. Let's say a bunch of things that remind us of Magic Mike. Vegetables or maybe fruit. Plantains. That's all I can think of.
I didn't know I was going to have to think of fruit.
Japanese eggplants. You really couldn't just quickly think of a fruit that reminds you of a penis. I would have even accepted peaches for ass, but instead, you're going to leave me out to dry in this ASMR wasteland. That's
Star
fine.
fruit.
Got it in one. There it is. Good job. Well, now that we have it really basked in the center, we can explore the space, so to speak. Now, first and foremost, I want you to know that the only storyline in this whole movie that I care about, the only one worth knowing, is the storyline of Matthew McConaughey's thong.
Yes. Where did it go? Where did it come from?
The work that thing is putting in. Much more work than any of the actors in this movie.
Yeah, what is it made out of?
I actually truthfully don't know. It was shining in a way that I've never seen fabric shine. And it was doing a lot of extra dangling that I wasn't really... I've never seen fabric react in that way. It could have been potentially chainmail, but I don't know if you noticed if you were really affixed on his region, like I was, because it's impossible not to be. When he stood up and starts to walk back to the stage after he's done pelvic thrusting towards the sky, his thong started to fall off, and he's kind of holding it on. And then the next scene, it just appeared back on him.
It did. Yeah. He did a somersault and then it was back in. It was like an elastic.
It was crazy. I think that he nicknamed his thong Mike. That's Magic Mike.
Ah.
I'm thinking that's where the magic is. It's in the thong.
Yeah. Because we don't actually get to see Mike strip, or Adam, for that matter.
That's true. The only one we saw was Matthew McConaughey.
Do you think that we ever get to see Adam strip?
I don't think either of them strip in this movie at all.
At all?
Honest.
No, Mike definitely strips.
Mike definitely strips. I'm just kidding. He for sure is down to clown. Adam, I don't know. I mean, it seems like at the end of the movie when Matthew McConaughey is calling Adam up to the big leagues, seems like he hasn't done it before.
Right, and he's finally getting the chance to prove himself.
It's his big opportunity. He got called up for the big game. He's gonna pull out his bat.
Yep,
and his balls. But ladies don't want to see those.
That's true. I think for me, there are two main questions about the middle that we need to answer. Number one, do we see a man dick? Number two, what was Adam caught up in that led Mike to pay off Gabriel Iglesias, and how much did he pay him? Those are the two main questions that I think we need to answer first and foremost.
I agree. I think one more I'd just like to add to the list there is, why are they going to Miami?
Yeah, I think so. I think the movie is supposed to take place in Florida. I mean, because there's the Cock Rock Kings of Tampa. Now, they mention Coral Springs, is it?
Yes.
But I looked, and that's not actually a place in Florida, at least that I could find. I could only find one in Iowa, but I just don't think this takes place in Iowa. There's no water in Iowa, right?
No, and I also don't. I'm not sure in the reference. So at this point, Channing Tatum has asked Adam, "You play ball?" In which Adam responded, "Yeah," and then said a position that I don't remember.
Strong safety.
Oh, strong safety, of course. How could I forget?
It was so when I first saw that scene, I thought Mike was coming on to him. Like, you play ball? That's a question that a man would ask if he was trying to find out if another man would do things with him.
You're absolutely correct. That is a good point. I didn't really think of it at that and then
moment. He even follows up Adam saying that he's a strong safety. Like, yeah, you look like a strong safety. Like, that's so weird.
It is.
I would never say that.
Now let's go drop you off at your sister's.
I was hoping you were going to say a tight end.
I partially like the center. Get it?
Yep.
Nice.
Yes, I do, Dave. Nice job. Nice work.
I appreciate it.
So, first question. Do we get to see a penis? Because, I mean, ultimately, that's like these thirsty bitches wanted dick, particularly Tatum's dick, to be on the screen. Like, they wanted a hunka chunka CT smut. And I don't know. I mean, the movie is rated R, so there's like a slight chance, but it just, especially in 2012, I just don't think that big screens were ready to show penises. With the amount of penises that we see in media is not equal to the amount of breasts. I don't know why, but that's the case.
Agreed. It really, I feel like, kicked in with Game of Thrones, but you're absolutely right that is skewed.
So, do you think that we get to see any?
So here's my thought, and we're all friends here. This is the trust tree. I want to talk to you and our listeners honestly. I personally had this thought when Channing Tatum was walking to the bathroom. And because your eyes are just drawn to his ass and it's impossible not to look at it, I noticed that there was nothing hanging in front. Now,
I also noticed.
I'm glad I wasn't the only one. This means a few different things. One, Channing Tatum doesn't have a very big dick. That could be a thing.
Could be.
Two, he does, and they CGI'd it out of there.
Or there's tape.
Yeah, or they could have just taped it up into his belly button. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I noticed that, and I think that if there was an opportunity for us to see anything in the 15 minutes that we watched at the beginning or the end, that would have been it, right?
It would have. I was picturing his dick going up into his belly button, so it looked like his body was a coffee mug, like it was a coffee mug handle. And I couldn't stop laughing. I'm sorry.
Oh man, now you got me going. That's an image. Yeah.
So
that's a tall glass of milk,
Yeah. Here's what I think happened in the middle. I picture it like Home Improvement, like, with the neighbor where you never see his mouth. It's always
Wilson,
just, like, hidden, and Wilson. It's always just kind of hidden in some clever way. Yeah. Like, that's totally what happened with all the dicks in this movie. Like, you'll see a naked guy come out, and then there'll be like a woman eating banana or someone carrying a pool noodle. It's just never see him.
Yeah, I definitely think that is absolutely, considering that this movie is defined as a comedy, which okay,
Was it?
whatever you say, it's drama / comedy according to Google.
Really?
I'm
Okay.
not sure what it was defined on the actual box, but I I would assume that's where the comic relief comes in, because I sure know that I didn't see any.
Yeah. So I think in the end, I don't think there was any male genitalia.
Yeah, I agree. Just a lot of asses and a lot of banana hammock and a lot of thongs that are just hanging on by a thread, you know?
Which I guess is probably for the better, because really women went, but I don't think they really wanted, like, women don't actually find penises attractive. Like, I think they just wanted to see his body and his butt. Like, that's probably better for them.
I also think it builds that. I mean, it's a drama / comedy. You got to build that dramatic tension, you know?
Right.
That's just the whole movie. See, we didn't watch the credits. The credits were just rolling credits with a bunch of just dicks everywhere. They were just building the drama all the way up to the credits, where it was just dicks all the way down.
But we don't know, because we don't watch the credits.
We didn't see it, so as far as I know, it didn't exist.
Yeah. Okay. Question 2. What was Adam doing that was so dangerous? And, why does he owe money? And how much did Mike pay him?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I think some amounts were thrown around that Adam's half was $10,000.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know if that's what Mike actually paid to Enrique Iglesias to pay that off. I don't know if he gets a special deal because he's Mike, and why wouldn't you give him one? I do know, however, that so Mike mentioned what was it? 100. I think he said pills. I can't remember for sure. And Enrique Iglesias, I'm just imagining it with him in there instead of Gabriel Iglesias, and it's much better. So Enrique Iglesias is like, no, we were in for a whole pack. What was the pack, and why is it worth? Adam's half was $10,000, so $20,000 that this pack was worth. What was in it, and how great was that pack?
Yeah. So was he? So your thought process is that he was a drug runner, basically. So he would get some drugs. He would pay a portion to get those drugs, and then he would sell them at profit.
Or he just really liked fancy candy from the UK.
It's funny that he went from stealing Pepsi to then stealing Coke.
Nice.
I'm going to cut that out.
Nope. It stays.
What if it wasn't drugs, though? Like, what if he was selling bootleg copies of Fast and the Furious Blu-rays? Did they have Blu-ray back in 2012?
I believe so. I have no idea.
What if we're thinking about this all wrong, though? Like, what if it has nothing to do with drugs, and because I didn't hear the pill part. Maybe okay. I'm not saying you're wrong, but
it was like the first few words that I heard when I restarted the movie.
Okay, I couldn't stop looking at Mike's mouth with all the brown and red stuff. So
makes sense.
Yeah, but like, what if instead of that, it's Banabi, the naked girl in Mike's bed? What if she died and Adam has been helping Mike parade her around like Weekend at Bernie's, and she was part of Fluffy's crew? So like, she was earning money on the side as a prostitute, and now that we find out that she's really dead, Mike owes. And Adam owes.
You've thrown a lot of spaghetti at the wall there, and we need to unpack it. First and foremost, did you just accuse Channing Tatum, Magic Mike, of sleeping with a prostitute?
Well, no, I'm saying that she's a prostitute, but just because you're a prostitute doesn't mean that you also don't have sex for pleasure. Like, if I'm a UFC fighter, could I also get in a bar fight just because I want to fight somebody? Yes. That doesn't mean I'm getting paid to do my job.
You could, but that's what you do at work. Why would you want to do it at home? I guess if you love what you do,
Well, let's say you're a professional baseball player. Do you not go home and play catch with your son? No, of course you do.
Nope. Well, okay. As if don't get children involved in this, perv.
These are great examples. So
that's
just
true.
Because she was a prostitute, Banabi, does not mean that she also didn't just enjoy sexual encounters with Channing Tatum.
And I mean, he's the one you would want to enjoy it with, obviously.
Yeah. So could that be a possibility?
So I mean, that could be something.
I'm sensing some doubt in your voice.
Yeah, I just really can't get over the fact that Adam would do something like that. Actually, no, I'm lying. He's such an asshole. He would do anything. And yeah, he could be doing all kinds of shady shit. And Mike keeps on having to pick him up out of the dirt, and then he just shits on his furniture business.
Yeah. Here's a question. Why does Mike give a shit about Adam? Is it just because he likes his sister? Like, that seems to be the only draw there. Like, other than that, he's a total tool in the time that we've seen.
In all the time, I have no doubt in my mind that he was a tool through the whole rest of the movie. Considering that from the beginning to the end, it didn't get any better. I'm assuming that he didn't have a fever dream in the middle where he was just a decent guy.
Good point. So why? Like, what is it just his sister that's the draw?
It's gotta be the sister, or maybe Mike sees a little bit of himself in him. Just maybe Channing Tatum sees himself in him,
but not in the sexual way. Although at the beginning, in the trunk he did. Yeah, good point.
We don't know. But I think that when it really comes down to it, Channing Tatum and Magic Mike is just a great guy. And he just wants to help everyone and the people around him. And that's why he's stripping, because he doesn't need the money. We see he lives on the beach. Did you notice that? What's this dude who's kind of sort of making furniture and working construction during the day and stripping at night is able to afford? I didn't realize that being a stripper was so lucrative. I think I might need to change my profession.
Well, here's the thing though. Like, if he really is making that much money as a stripper, A, why does he have to work construction during the day?
Yeah.
And B, why is he haggling over getting like 15 an hour or 20 an hour? Like,
yeah, his pay for roofing.
Right.
Also, why was he being so cheap with his truck and the plastic?
Yeah.
It's all very confusing. And I would hope that they explored some of that in the middle of the movie, but I bet they didn't at all.
I don't think that we see any scenes of him like at the bank depositing money into his savings account like that. No, we don't get any of that.
Yeah, he's just money laundering through his dirty dancing.
Yep.
Also, can we mention Exquisite? Did you see that?
Yes, the name of the club.
The name of the club is Exquisite, spelled like exhibit, and it makes me very happy.
When you say exhibit, you mean the rapper from MTV, Pimp Your Ride?
Yeah, obviously. Okay. What other exhibit could I be talking about?
Well, the actual word, EXHIBIT.
Nope, I don't know what that is.
Spelling bee champ right here, by the way. Anyway.
Way to spell off the podcast.
We're off to a great start.
Just tooting your own horn over there. That's fine. It's okay.
Anyway.
So we've gotten to the point where this is the point I want to discuss. So they've decided that they are just going to up and leave this apparently pretty lucrative business to go to Miami. Now, my first thought process was, oh, well, Miami could just be more lucrative. There's more money in Miami than Tampa, I would assume. I don't know anything about the status of Florida, but it sounds right to me.
Yeah, Miami I think Miami is one of the biggest like entertainment hubs, at least of the East. There's a lot of like it's a kind of a big nightclub scene.
Yeah, if I've learned anything from Pitbull, Miami's the place to be.
Yes.
So I presumably they were going to Miami just for a more lucrative position and to be able to grab a little bit more of that market share, you know. But I thought, what if there was something a little deeper, something a little bit more dramatic? What if there was a rival club that was basically driving them out of Tampa? They have to go to Miami because Tampa's been taken over by this new rival club that came in.
That's a possibility. Or maybe they're even going to Miami with the other rival club to kick their asses.
Ooh, maybe. Yeah, maybe they're going to challenge them. That's something that could be
to
happening.
A dance off, a strip off.
A strip off, obviously.
How do you win a strip off? I mean, doesn't it end with everyone with their clothes off anyway?
Yeah, it's whoever gets their clothes off fastest. I got my muscles. I'm the best stripper. But essentially, my thought process was there's this rival club that is essentially trying to stomp on their turf, and they can't be having that. So I wanted to kind of spitball a few people that could have maybe been part of this rival club. So you figure the Exquisite crew was 6 or 7 guys, if I count right at the end there, including Matthew McConaughey. I think it's 7.
Yeah.
So we'll leave Matthew McConaughey out of that. You figure it's six guys that are part of this exquisite crew. So
Wait, I have a quick question.
yeah,
Was Adam part of the 6 or no? Because it seems like if Mike was there, Adam only got his chance because Mike left. So what was Adam going to do before Mike left? Was he just like the guy who stood on the side and collected their clothes? Like, what is it that he did?
He's a water boy. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, that's a good question, is that he's just kind of hanging out backstage. You know where my favorite place to hang out? Backstage at Exquisite. Oh, man. Adam's such a douche.
He actually lives there because his sister kicked him out.
Yeah. I mean, she did kick him out. He's living with Nora, which could be that big guy played by Kevin Nash that we see for 5 seconds. Oh man! But essentially, I think we need to kind of narrow down and nail down a few people that would have been in this rival crew. So I think that's really what's going to define the middle of this movie here, and kind of build the tension of why they're going to Miami. So my first thought process was, first they need a head guy, a leader, and I'm trying to think of who is the just polar opposite of Matthew McConaughey. Obviously still attractive because they need to be, but who would kind of be the polar opposite of a southern, like, blonde guy? And I came up with Benedict Cumberbatch.
Here's the question though: is he attractive? Would you pay to see Benedict Cumberbatch strip?
I would pay to see Benedict Cumberbatch swing around that rock hard jawline and probably knock out a few people in the crowd.
Okay. I don't know that I'm in on Benedict.
Who do you got?
I didn't know that I was supposed to come up with a crew of strippers.
How could you not think that we were supposed to come up with a crew of strippers?
I have Alec Baldwin.
Ooh, Alec Baldwin. That's a good one. Here, let me throw another one at you. Sir Ian McClellan as Gandalf the Grey.
I don't know who that is. No, if you learn anything about me in these upcoming podcast episodes, I don't know who actors or actresses are.
Okay, so make sure to note that if I'm going to make Mike list out the names of actors or actresses, to let him know ahead of time. Noted. You know who Sir Ian McClellan is, though.
I really don't.
You really do. He's Magneto.
I don't know what that means.
Oh my God, I'm going to kill you. We're back to ASMR.
I'm editing this out.
No, you're not. You can if you want. What about Tony Shalhoub? You know who Tony Shalhoub is, huh?
That's the guy who plays Monk, right?
Yep, he's my personal favorite, and I would love to see him as part of the rival stripper crew.
Again, though, would any real person pay to see him strip? Besides, like, his wife.
I know of a lot of Monk fans who would happily pay to see that happen.
Okay.
Yeah, just saying. My mom being one of them. What about Mark Harmon? You know who Mark Harmon is.
I don't.
Gibbs from NCIS. I pulled a TV reference. You can't even get that one?
I don't watch shows that are on network.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, well, we're just going to have to scrap this whole segment, I think.
You should have told me to prepare.
I will next time. Now I know. But I think that a rival crew is really what they would have been driving them to Miami, and they probably would have had a pretty epic dance battle that would have ensued. I mean, all the greatest dances, you know, the hoedown, the Dougie,
Bernie. That's the only dance that I can do, by the way. Whenever I'm at a wedding, I just Bernie.
Nice. The Macarena. Can you do the Macarena?
No. Cotton
Eye Joe?
Nope.
Well, all of them did all these great dances. It was a pretty epic dance-off. Ultimately, Exquisite lost. Oh, man. They have to move to Miami.
Here's the thing. We both know that there is a sequel, Magic Mike XXL. Does that mean that Mike went back to stripping? Like, he ended up having sex with Adam's sister and said, nah, actually, I'm going to go back to stripping.
Yeah. So actually, no. He ends up having a child with the sister whose name I do not know. Yeah.
Is this real? Like, have you seen the sequel, or are you just?
No, I have no idea. Nope. He ends up having a child with her, and they name
it Banabi.
Banabi, yeah, after his favorite lover, and they end up just, you know, it's an everyday, like, man's movie, like Marmaduke. was the first movie I thought of.
Great.
How you like them apples, Marmaduke?
I don't know what that is, but it sounds funny.
Of course you don't. I should have known. Why am I doing a podcast with you about movies?
Good question.
Good news is there's so many movies we could watch, guys. Think of all the movies that Mike hasn't seen that we can watch.
Excuse me. My name is Michael.
Oh,
Mike is the person in this movie.
You're Magic Michael.
Okay. But yeah, that's what happened in the middle.
I just want to remind everyone to appreciate your thongs. They work really hard day in, day out, especially if they're holding something as powerful as Matthew McConaughey's junk. So just appreciate it. Just enjoy it while you have it, and make sure to take care of them, and make sure to always spay and neuter your thongs. Thank you.
So that was Magic Mike. What is the plan for the next episode, Dave?
We're planning on doing these every 2 weeks. Next movie is going to be Puss in Boots, starring Antonio Banderas. That episode is going to come out on December 11th. Who doesn't love Antonio Banderas?
I don't know who that is. So I really don't.
I don't even know if you're messing with me anymore.
I really don't know. I don't have no idea who that is. It sounds Spanish. Like, I'm sure he has an accent. And he's probably like dark hair. So we appreciate you. We're still in our infancy here, and not just because we're pooping our pants. We could use the help. So be sure to subscribe so you auto download future episodes. And if you'd be so kind, head to iTunes and leave a rating and review. Most importantly, though, if you like the show, tell your friends. In fact, tell your kids, tell your wife, tell your husband, because we raping every... Okay, well, we're probably not... The only things we're raping are the beginning and ends of these movies.
Mm-hmm.
But also, if you want to send us feedback or some ideas for future movies that we can watch, again, there have to be ones that we haven't seen, but we'll tell you. Send us an email at thecentercutcast@gmail.com.
Yes, you can also hit us up on Twitter, the Center Cut Cast, as well as Facebook. We have a Facebook group that we're going to be outlining for you guys, so the Center Cut Cast on that as well.
And I think we're done.
Like the cream in the center of your donut, it's always better in the center.